Today, I want to tell you about a series of tragic events that took place in West Jordan, Utah. But there's a bigger issue at hand here. This is an issue that is playing out in communities all across America right now, and to some extent internationally. This issue is playing out everywhere. The longer we are self isolated, quarantine away from our neighbors, and other people within our community are becoming more and more desperate as unemployment rises, food banks run out of food, food pantries and soup kitchens close because they can't serve and because they just don't have the supplies. Because again, supermarkets were cleaned out. There's nothing left. The food that the pantries and soup kitchens would have gotten as seconds to be able to help serve the mass populations that they were supplying at the time, funding hasn't caught up to them. There's no money that's been earmarked for homeless shelters, the homeless, those who were down in their luck, to feed them, clothe them. Sure, some states have given money to boost food pantries, but not every state. And we're seeing this series of events play out in communities again all over the United States and in some cases internationally. Today, we're going to take a look at the tragic events in West Jordan and the Butterfield family and what happened. And you can find at least a dozen other stories like this that have played out in America in the last 2 months and is going to continue to happen. Thank you for joining me today. West Jordan couple shot and killed by intruder. A husband and wife were shot and killed by an intruder in West Jordan overnight Saturday, police said. Officers were called at 1:15 a.m. to a home in the 3200 block of South Street after a neighbor heard the sounds of gunshots and then screams. West Jordan Police Sergeant J.C. Holt said. Officers found the home where they believed the sounds came from, and it led them to the backyard because there was no answer at the front door, and they found a man in the backyard who was deceased. He had appeared to have been shot at least once, maybe more. A door into the home appeared to have been kicked in, he said. Police went inside and found a woman deceased of gunshot wounds as well. The couple was identified Saturday afternoon as Tony Butterfield, age 31, and Katherine Butterfield, age 30. Our deepest condolences to their loved ones and those close to them, investigators continues. We are working hard to solve this terrible crime, said West Jordan Police Department in a recent tweet on their page. 3 children under the age of 4 were also at the home at the time, Holt said. They were uninjured. Police believe the altercation occurred between the couple and the intruder before the shooting, based on evidence found inside the home. They believe the suspect might have had a knife initially and may have left with a knife wound because of trace evidence that had been left behind, according to Holt. While a possible motive was unknown as of Saturday morning, Holt said the police have leads in this case. Police believe the suspects left in a car after the shooting. Family members of the couple described them as incredibly Christ-like, kind, happy, and loving parents, children, siblings, and friends. We mourn their loss, but are grateful for the sheer knowledge that we will be with them again someday. We hold no ill will towards the perpetrators in this crime and pray for them and their families, the family said in a statement released by the police department. News of the shooting had a quick profound impact on neighbors who described the couple as the sweetest people ever. They were so likable, just great people. We scored when we moved in next to them, said Alicia Osborne, the next door neighbor. She said her and her family moved in several months ago and instantly hit it off with the victim's family. Osborne's family is now going through just a lot of pain, a lot of different emotions at this loss of our neighbors, she said. It doesn't make sense because I can't think of anybody that would even do this at all. I can't think of anybody that would have anything against them at all. So it's just pretty mind-blowing, she said. The victims were members of the Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints, according to the Osborne. The neighbors and other members of their ward went outside to comfort each other on Saturday morning. They were definitely a big part of the ward, said Osborne. Police say they have no criminal history at the home at all. In fact, since the house has been built, they've never had a call to the address. And it does appear that this isn't connected with some other thing that might have shot up in the last couple of days. We just don't see these type of cases, Holt said, explaining that this case doesn't appear connected to domestic violence or involvement in any other criminal activity. It's very tragic circumstances, especially when there's children involved. The children were removed from the home immediately and were taken to a relative's home. Tony Butterfield, age 31, and his wife, Katherine Butterfield, age 30, gunned down in their home by an intruder. According to the neighbor, Mrs. Osborne, who was also a member of their church, the days prior, this couple, the Butterfields, lived their life as they normally would, doing exactly the same activities that they normally would have done, playing with their children in the backyard. All three of their children were under the age of 4. They said hello to neighbors, waved to them as they came and went from their neighborhood area. They did everything normal. Now, 3 children are without their mother and without their father because one selfless individual, at least, decided to try to steal what they had, to take from them, to be desperate enough to try to take from others. Again, this story is playing out all across America. In the past 2 months, according to the Associated Press, this story, or a story like it, has played out at least 12 times in the last 60 days, and more in the last 3 weeks than the previous 3 weeks. People get desperate, and they do crazy things. And this is what we are seeing. Either way, the Butterfields are gone. Thank you for joining me today. You stay safe out there.